So, Carl, first things first, why don't you tell the people how late you were?
There's no need to go into that now, mate.
I love how the tables have turned here and I'm no longer ever late.
Nukes has been on time for everything we've done.
If you haven't had to go anywhere.
All it took was a global pandemic and Lou was on time.
Hey, I'll have you know.
I think it worked well last week, Phil's idea to just kind of go around the table and everybody say what they've been doing for the past week. You know, Nukes, you go first.
Me?
Yeah,
what have I been doing?
Yeah.
Gee, thanks. So much of the same, really. Started painting the fort the other day in the lovely sunshine. I'm doing it bit by bit, have to break it up so I don't waste up a whole day doing it. Just tidying up the garden, more painting outside, this time the back garden. Painting stones, cleaning stones.
Amazing.
Doing lots of cooking, baking, lots of silly stuff, playing games.
I got a few people messaged in and said, will you ask Lou what she was thinking when she decided to do a marathon row?
Oh yeah. Oh well, actually, okay. Number one, I didn't do it alone, so there was 3 of us rowing. It was something last year. I think you remember. I don't know if you'll remember it, but I did say after when my dad died that it was something that I wanted to do. Obviously canoeing was his thing, so it's something that I've always kind of said, I want to do a marathon row, and I had actually intended on doing it on my own with you guys and a few people in my family, individually, but obviously that didn't happen. So just with the time on our hands and everything, and it was kind of like, what are we going to do someday? Okay, let's do this row. So myself and Dave and Sophie decided that we'll just do it. I asked you guys, how do you think I should break it up? We were initially kind of thinking, we'll do it in like so many minutes or whatever. But then we decided to start off doing a 1K row each. And then when we, each just alternating. So you had time to get off, plenty of rest and everything. So you were able to hold a decent enough pace.
Tell them what you did during your rest.
Oh, I was cooking the dinner.
Amazing.
Like it took nearly 3 hours. So I had like peeling spuds and peeling carrots and putting them on, and so it was grand. But during the row, we decided after 12K, so that was four rounds each, that the rest time was just a little bit too long and the work time was just a little bit too long, so poor Sophie, of course, ripped her hand, in here with blisters and stuff like that. So just pulling too hard, gripping, I was kind of alternating my grip and changing and stuff like that. So but what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so we just we changed it down to 750 and it worked really well. So just like that, alternating. So we started off, lovely evening, the way it is out there now, and it was dark by the time we finished.
No
It was crazy. It was the night that the moon was out as well, so it was lovely. We were able to look at that.
So how long did it take?
252 or something like that.
How was your ass?
It was actually really good.
In a completely PG way.
Good ass. No, I was really conscious of my hands, my ass, and my heels, because I always remember Philly years ago with his heels. Remember his heels blistered really badly. I think he'd done a long row in the gym one time. So I always remember him saying to me to have decent socks on and to really tie my laces on my shoes. So it's something I'm really conscious of every time I go to row. If I'm going any kind of distance or time on and stuff like that. So just was really conscious of that. And because we were up and off it so often, it was fine on your bum. But I'd imagine that you could get a rawhide if you were going solo.
And do you still plan to go solo? At some stage?
Some stage. I'll definitely go. I've done 5Ks and stuff like that. So I think, but just as a taking it easy.
It's pretty much
maybe.
The same.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd like to do maybe a half first. And then I'll probably say never again.
Yeah.
But, it's tough.
If someone asking for the Zoom details to say it's easier to concentrate.
Sorry guys. Not this time.
Yeah, on the next one.
Cool. But yeah, that's it.
Cool.
I
don't
don't
know.
understand what that means with Zoom, but anyway, is it like what? It's easier for someone to jump in, is it? Like,
So
with the link?
they want to. So last time there was like maybe 10 or 15 people in watching us do this and
Okay.
listening.
Watching on Zoom.
But then when I put the video up on YouTube, the Zoom recording was just the person who's speaking. But this time, when it's recording, all four of us will be on the screen all the time.
Okay. Fair enough.
So
Fair
I
enough.
want to see which one works better.
Cool.
You know. So, but you
Lou,
can't have other people in here if you do that.
Lou, can I just ask all three, is the way, like, you don't have access to a gym, what way are you structuring your training? Are you going like, I'm going to do 3 days on, a day off, or a day on, day off, or like just do what you can every day and pick something different, or just what way are you approaching it?
I can go on this if you want. Or
Yeah, go ahead, Cole. You would go one at a time. I'd be interested to hear what you're all doing.
You go, Carl.
I still have the guy I'm working with, guy in coaching with, Graham Norton. So he gives me workouts now at home. So basically, there's 3 like strength days, which is just, I don't have much weight. The heaviest kettlebell I have is like a 14. So it's just 3 kind of high volume strength days, easy enough movements, and then 2 running days, so an interval day and then a longer day. And then I do the 2 live ones with Maddie as well. And that's it. That's what I do.
Cool. You enjoying it?
Yeah, actually am.
Yeah.
I thought I would miss like barbells and stuff like that a bit more. But I suppose I've been doing that for so long. It's kind of nice to have a change from that. So I actually am enjoying it in fairness.
Cool. News.
My training is kind of a bit all over the place at the moment. I'm still trying to get in the basic movements. So not as much with the barbell, like squatting. I'm not really done a little bit of front squatting, a little bit of barbell benching today, just. But yeah, kind of doing different stuff with, a lot of variations with dumbbells and kettlebells. Doing a bit of cardio, doing my running a little bit, so it's kind of mixing it up and enjoying it, but my times are kind of all over the place because of obviously doing everything else here, so I don't have any really proper structure.
Yeah.
So actually I've been talking and thinking about getting onto an actual proper structured program, so yeah, hopefully by next week I'll have that sorted out and I can let you know then a little bit more.
No, I think you're great. You always seem to be doing something, so you seem to get loads in.
Yeah, I keep busy, and I'm kind of getting stuff for the kids to do as well and stuff. So it's good to, and other people as well. So getting a bit of programming out for clients and stuff. So it's good,
Cool. So
Maybe.
all it took for Lou to take a rest day and for Carl to start running, like Phil said at the start, was a global pandemic.
Amazing.
I was lucky enough to rob a rower and an assault bike from Darren's gym. So I've been using them quite a bit. I had a conditioning program with a guy named Matt Weepke from the States. So I've been doing that. That's like a 3-month program that he'd given me before. So I've been going back through that. And then I haven't used any weights at all. Like I do the workouts with Carl, and then I do kind of like an upper lower split, just like push-ups. I do chin-ups off a swing set out the back. I do have a TRX and some bands, so I've been using them. But mostly like upper lower split and a lot more mobility, which I would normally, because I have no excuse to skip it now. So like I just that's what I've been doing, like upper lower split, lots of condition. I'm probably more consistent with my training since this kicked off than I have been like in a very long time.
Yeah.
And so
probably like once something is taken away from you, then like you want to do it more so than when you had it a little bit. Like
yeah, and even like I was the same as Carl, where I thought like, oh, I'll miss the barbell loads, or I'll like I really miss weights and stuff like that. But I'm kind of enjoying the change. Like it's kind of freshened things up.
Cool.
Yeah, I was probably in this scenario where I was so busy that I literally had like the 3 or 4 times a week, that hour and a half to train, and that was it. If I missed that window, I missed the session.
Yeah.
That kind of way. So
yeah.
The more variety with times for me now is just it's like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, oh, I could train at this time, or I could train at this time, or you know what I mean? And I'm not so restricted that way. It's just probably give me a bit more motivation to get out and do stuff. So
Cool. What about you, Philbert?
Yeah, like obviously it's handy enough with the gym and stuff, but I would be really, really busy with college. So because I'm so busy, I get to train a good bit, yeah, but it's a lot of the time it can be day on, day off. So I would get to train one day and then the next day I literally just wouldn't get enough time to train. It's probably the first time in a long time where I'm not like on a structured program or anything like that. I just kind of make up my own program every day that I go to train, and I just kind of cycle through the movements. Like I would just do like bench press would be my main lift, kind of an upper body session on one day, and then I'd squat, and then I'd be deadlift, and like a pull session, and I just like to cycle through that. With like rep ranges and weights and stuff like that, honestly, because of college and the fact I do just sit from one end of the day to the next, I just go by feel every day, that way, because I don't want to have to sit down and work and study or anything like that and feel like, oh, I have a niggle here, or I kind of lifted too heavy, or I feel really like drained because I did so much earlier on. So I'm just kind of tipping away. Because I sit so much as well, I don't get anywhere near my 10,000 steps, especially towards the end of the semester. So what I've started doing is just running. So I'll just run 2K out, brings me up into the middle of the Curragh, 2K back. And I try and do that. I can't say I do it every day. I started on like the 30th or the 31st. So it's like 14 days. I think I've done 9 or 10. I think I'm on 9 in the last 14 days. So yeah, I'm actually quite enjoying that. Just running out and running back. It's funny because I did it the first 3 days in a row, and then on the 4th day, I think I just spent most of the day in bed. Not really, but I was wrecked because I hadn't ran in ages. So it's funny. It was funny. But yeah, training's good.
Cool. Someone actually messaged, one of the questions was to ask Phil about his gym setup and what your thoughts were in choosing equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a really good question. Like, if anyone wants to just message me, I do have an Excel file with all the links to the equipment that I got and the cost and stuff.
Of course
like that.
You do. Of course you do.
So I can just send it on. But yeah, like obviously I knew the space that I had. It's a nice little space. I obviously wanted to get a rack. The rack was kind of a really important thing to do barbell work. After that, like now thinking for someone with what's going on, if you've got a little bit of space, if you can get like, dumbbells and a few kettlebells and bands and stuff like that, they would go a really, really long way. Like you don't have to have a home gym, but you can get so much done with that. I think it's probably just a case of picking stuff up over time. Then, if you could get a bench or a rack might be a little bit of a stretch for some people to attach it to the wall, but you can get freestanding ones that just, it's kind of you can put it anywhere. So I don't know what other people think, like what any of you think, but I think you can go a couple of kettlebells, some dumbbells, some bands, you can get an awful lot of good stuff done. And honestly, like all that stuff that we go on about, the kettlebells, the dumbbells, the bands, etc., I know like for strength training and doing that kind of stuff, you really, really need them. I think the best thing that I got, even though that I can go out the door and run up to the car and run back, is the bike. The bike is just amazing. Like such a solid piece of equipment. You'll always have it. Just the investment in it, the investment in your health. I think like, conditioning can be a big missing piece for people's programs as well. In that I find once I'm on like a good conditioning program over time, I always feel like I have energy. I always feel energized. I always feel I can do more of my strength pieces. I always sleep well. And I do, like I attribute a lot of it to conditioning and just regular conditioning where you're not lifting heavy or being beat up or anything like that, where you're just actually like, doing simple but tough conditioning. So the bike would be a great one.
The big factor that you said there, Phil, was that your condition helps your strength training. And I think people don't realize that. I know even personally myself, when my conditioning goes too far down, it really impacts my strength training. I can't get through near the amount of volume, and I'm just wrecked. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden then I do a bit more conditioning, I get through a lot more volume of strength training and then get stronger in turn. You know what I mean? I think people think that they're nearly like two completely opposing things all the time, and that if you want to be stronger, don't do any conditioning, or you know what I mean, vice versa as well. And that's probably a good point you touched on, that you have to be somewhat conditioned to be strong.
Yeah, like that's a really good point as well, Carl. And I think, you know, you can kind of look into the whole where people will ask the question, you know, should I be doing conditioning and the same as my strength session, and will it interfere or any kind of stuff like that? I'm like, we're just general pop people.
Yeah.
You're just trying to be fit and you're trying to be healthy. You're trying to get some good work done. So sometimes, you know, you can delve too far into what's the scientific principle behind something, and that can paralyze someone from actually just doing some simple good work.
Yeah, and I would say on the gym setup on myself, even with, say, my personal training clients, most of them obviously are just general pop, and they're not looking to be better at a certain sport or whatever it might be. And we might use a barbell like a couple of times, like probably 10-15% during the week. You know what I mean? So if they didn't have a rack and didn't have a barbell at home, it probably wouldn't make much difference at all, because, like, in my opinion, to get the most out of a barbell, like, you have to be somewhat intermediate. You know what I mean? Or else you're probably going to end up in that stage where you're too much of a beginner. You haven't mastered, say, proper goblet squats or kettlebell deadlifts or whatever it might be, and it's oftentimes like kind of thrown at people. Oh, barbell, you need to get stronger. Oh, barbell. Oh, well, maybe you need to do a lot more goblet squats. Maybe you need to do a lot more kettlebell deadlifts off plates and get your positions right and get everything right. And then when you're at that intermediate stage, then progress into a barbell. I've seen so many people back squatting and deadlifting and all that kind of stuff, and you see them try to do a goblet squat with any way of a heavy kettlebell or dumbbell, and they're by no means proficient at it. You know what I mean? So I think when it comes to a home gym, not that you need to be advanced to have a barbell, but it's something that you could definitely, like, takes up a lot of space, a bar, a rack, all that kind of stuff. I would be focused, like you said, on kettlebells, dumbbells, bands, bike, you know, stuff like that, where you're going to be much more usable, I think.
Yeah, it will call. I had, like, my online programming clients today had goblet squats in the programming, and it was sets of 25.
Oh,
So yeah.
You're a
was,
rough man, Jesus
There was
Christ.
4 sets of 25, but that just shows you, you know, if you've got a set of dumbbells or anything like that, you, like, show me what you got on a sets of 25 goblet squats. You know, 4 sets of 25, mixed in with some other stuff. So, you know, I've got all the way up to 30 kilos out there in my home gym. And you might go, oh, you know, if I need to squat, like, I need to have a barbell or whatever. And obviously, you know, if you have one, it would be great. And if you're proficient at it, it's great. But at the same time, like you said, to start out, okay, like, get up to the 30 kg dumbbell on 4 sets of 25 goblet squats. Show me what you got. Show me, can you do that? So there's a lot of mileage you can get out with the more simpler stuff, the simpler pieces of equipment.
Yeah. Nukes, what about you were like probably the first of us to start chipping away at a home gym. What did you pick up first, or you chipped away at it for a while, right?
Yeah, so about 3 years ago we bought a rower just to have at home, because it was something that we all enjoyed kind of doing, and it was like, okay, what would be a good thing to have? Growing up as kids, there was always kind of equipment at home as well, so we were always kind of used to stuff going on, and I always thought it's never a waste to have any equipment. I know a lot of people would say, oh, there's a clothes hanger, or you don't need any equipment at home, but it is always something good to have, you know, for whatever reasons, I think. So
that took a second to, like, register what you meant there. There's a clothes hanger. That completely went over my head too.
Yeah, sorry. So it's true though. I remember my mother had an exercise bike. I think I showed it to you, the one that was in the garage. Yeah.
And the rower. Was there a rower as well?
And there was a rower as well, yeah. But that exercise bike was in my parents' bedroom. So I was a young teenager, like, when that first came into the house, and it was in, you know, underneath the window kind of. But yeah, it ended up at the start, it was used all the time, and then it ended up being a clothes hanger, you know. But yeah, so it's still there, and it still works kind of. But so I said it's definitely something that I'd like to have, and the rower is something, it's a great, you know, I think any, like Phil said, any of them pieces of conditioning equipment are a great thing to have at home. They're low impact, and everybody can use it, you know. So we got the rower, and then the next one was the bike. The bike came the year after that at Christmas. So yeah, they're great. And then just kind of building up like that, adding on an extra set of dumbbells here and there, buying a couple of kettlebells, buying bands. It's great to have stuff, you know. And then as that, just got the rack, or not, I don't have a rack yet, but the barbell and plates and stuff like that, you know, and slam balls and just lots of different bits and pieces. So it's good, you know. I definitely recommend having a few little bits. Like Phil said, you don't need much, bands and a couple of dumbbells or kettlebells, you know, but you can improvise, you know, even using the swing. The other night I was shown the swing, instead, if you don't have a set of ring rows or rings to do rows, or even bands, you can use the swing, you can use chairs. There's loads of stuff you can do with them. As Carl had doing the pull-ups off the tree as well, I thought that was brilliant, you know. There's loads of things you can do, so yeah.
You get some weird looks doing that though. I actually
I gotta try it.
I have a good question I got off someone that's off topic on that altogether. But probably relevant enough in some way. Any tips on how to stop comparing yourself to others and to your old self? And Maddie, will come to you first on this one.
Well, it is a really good question, and like very topical for the situation we're in now. And the first thing I always say to people is, and Phil had a really good post on this a while ago, I think the four of us have talked about it at some stage, but like do a clear out on your social media and get rid of anyone who's not providing value, because there are so many like influencers who just post topless selfies and the booty shots for the gram that I'm always posting, and they don't provide any value, and people like don't, for some reason, people are in routine of following these people and don't unfollow them. And every time they see that, they start comparing themselves and think, oh, this is how I should look, or this is, if I'm not in this shape, then I'm doing something wrong and I'm not good enough, or something like that. But they're like, people only show you the highlights on social media. So if someone is not providing value, you need to do a clear out of your social media. That's absolutely the first thing I tell everyone. And then from there, like, it's just, you're just trying to improve yourself better. That expression of like 1% better each day is like, you're just trying to get a little bit better all the time. And yeah, that's it. But the social media thing's a big one for me.
Phil, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I probably have like too many. It's such a really good question. I probably have too many in my head to
Let
try
them
and
fly, homie. Let them
compose
fly.
an answer. No, yeah, it's a really good point, and it's really tough with social media. I suppose, like, I was flicking through accounts and stuff like that the other day, and I don't think it's going away. You know, the way you were saying, influencers, and you know, people who post up pictures of their abs or their bum or whatever, that kind of stuff, I don't think will ever go. In that it will always be popular with the masses. Like you said, just a good kind of who you follow. If they don't provide some kind of value to your life, or if they cause you any kind of compare and distress, you should probably unfollow them as well. Just be a little bit kinder to yourself too. I think you would hope that something like this that's happening now with like coronavirus makes people kind of look around and go like, well, why do I care what other people think? Like, my health is everything. I'm happy enough to be alive and to be able to train, and you know, I'm not in an intensive care unit, or any of my family aren't sick. So it's a good kind of point in time to reflect on that as well. Like, it's tough as well. Like, I look at it now and I'm under so much pressure with college and stuff like that, and I train kind of day on, day off, and like, what are your goals as well? You know, I used to be leaner than I was now, but I'm doing a master's, and I feel like, you know, that's kind of my goal now. And I suppose just what matters to you is probably what you should try and identify yourself. And if you think about it, it's probably nothing got to do with an influencer or anyone else or anything like that. So that's really important. Years down the line, like, you'll look back and you would probably be annoyed with yourself to think like, oh, you know, I was looking at this Instagram account and I was so self-conscious because I was looking at it and I felt bad about myself. And like, you're not going to care years down the line about that. So I don't know, just have a little kind of think about things. You have plenty of time to do it now, and what your goals are, what your morals are, and don't really worry about anybody else. Just try and be the best version of yourself every day, as cliche as that sounds.
I think
Yeah,
as
Lou?
well, we've all we've practice this, or like it's not something, it's not a switch you can kind of switch on or off. Like and I still catch myself doing this sometimes, even if I'm flicking on social media. And it could even be something you guys post, where like you'll post something and I'm like, oh, that's deadly, and then for a split second I'm like, fuck, why didn't I think of that? And I think it's just something that, like, I guess it's like anything, nutrition training, where like what you do the majority of the time is the most important. So like filling yourself full of like positive thoughts, and like Phil said, focusing on yourself most of the time. You'll still have blips on the radar where you compare yourself to other people, and I think that's somewhat natural. Like, you're not going to be perfect, nobody is.
It's like a muscle, like what you said there. You do have to train it. You have to train yourself to be kind of, you know, like less self-conscious every day. You have to just reinforce these things about yourself, and just the more you do it, like anything else, the better you'll get at it, hopefully, over time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lou, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that you've said. I suppose when it comes to the likes of Instagram and following people on social media, stars and all these famous people, I never really followed any of them. There'd be a lot of people that people talk about all the time, and I'm going like, who, what? I'm not into that, or magazines and stuff like that. So, because I just don't have the time, you know, the headspace. Like, at the end of the day, we're all unique, you know. We're all special in our own different way. I know it's as corny as it sounds, but we all have something to offer. And it's not just about how you fucking look. Like, you know, you're so much more than your body. You know, like Phil said, I was much leaner before, and I've put back on a couple of kilos, but who cares, you know? I'm healthy, I'm fit and I'm healthy, and, you know, there's so much more going on in all of our lives. So I know it is something that does consume a lot of people. I think it's generally younger people, which drives me mad as well. But like that, to try and get them to look at people that are real people, that aren't all about, you know, just how you look and stuff like that. There's much more going on. You know, your abs and your ass, like posting that just to get likes and stuff. And it does happen. You see the people that are following, who, you know, the numbers and stuff like that, and you post a picture of something else and the likes shoot up. It's like, it's crazy. But I think just by the younger people, you know, that's the way it is with social media and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the majority of people also know that it's not real life. You don't see all the shit. I mean, if I was to post up, you know, me screaming at the kids, do this, do that, or, you know, trying to get stuff done, like it's, you know, we're all in the same boat. I think none of us are perfect. You know, there's an awful lot of airbrushing and stuff like that going on, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
even
think,
like, sorry, go on, Phil.
sorry, just that it's in my head. Sorry to put across, Matt. I think if people just have it in their head that, like, nobody really cares as well, just in the sense of, don't be worrying about posting someone or doing something, thinking about what everybody else is thinking. They've probably got enough on their own plate that they're not actually worried about anything that's going on in your life as well. And that's, as far as, like, in relation to me,
Sorry, 1 second.
in the past, it used to be like, oh, you know, you'd put up a post or content or stuff like that, and you'd be worried, like, I wonder what this coach thinks of that, or that person thinks of what I put up. Now I just don't care. Like, just you're everybody's just trying their best every day, you know, that way. Like, legit just trying their best, and as long as you feel like you're doing that, I think you're kind of on the right track.
I suppose, like you touched on, like, social media, and it's all social media, to be honest with you. It has to be, because, like, you're not walking down the street looking at some guy with his top off with his abs out, or whatever, you know what I mean? It's all social media. And I suppose from where you're coming from, point of view, like, I would definitely just agree with everything you said, you know what I mean? And I suppose the thing about it is that you've been probably around the block a bit more than these kind of, like, whatever 19-year-old influencer with their ass out or with their abs out or whatever like that. And I suppose you are who you are, and that's it. And, like, you don't own anything, and don't get too attached to how you look, as that kind of relates to your value as a person, you know what I mean? Like, I think anyone that's probably, especially if you've been kind of fit enough, and then you've had a few injuries, and then you've got a bit fitter, and then you've had a few you know, you've been up and down, and everyone goes kind of up and down in that cycle. And after you go through that a good bit of times, you realize, oh, wait a minute, like some points in my life I'm a bit fitter, some points I'm a bit less fit, some points I'm a bit this, that, the other, but you're just the same person anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't really matter at all what stage you're at this minute. So I definitely just agree with that. And then this social media is just a huge thing. And this question was asked by a young person. Like you said, Lou, it's mostly kind of younger people, and I know some older people as well. So it's not just,
Yeah.
just for
No, I
younger
know,
people. But it's probably harder for them because they haven't been around and seen people before that were just. One big thing I see lately is people coming out and saying, like, say they have a huge following, and then like they've had this following and then be maybe eating a certain kind of way or training a certain kind of way that was like massively obsessive and unhealthy, and then coming out like 2 or 3 years later going, oh well, by the way, I was really wrong, and like, you know, I had massive problems, I had massive issues and this, that, and the other. And that's fair enough, like they had their own issues. But for them last 2 or 3 years, they probably influenced, like the following people have, they probably influenced how many thousands of young girls and guys.
Yeah.
And then turn around like 2 years later and be like, oh yeah, well, sorry, I had really bad issues. And like, that's just not good enough then. It's not good enough to turn around then and go like, oh, well, sorry. Well, what about all them other girls that now probably have them issues?
There's
You know,
no
I see this
accountability
lady-
at all.
No kind of. I see this lady
It's
with someone
terrible.
coming out, like a female, and she's like, oh yeah, like, oh, my hair was falling out, and you know, I was massively obsessive. I couldn't eat anything. I was afraid to eat anything. I ate like 5 foods for 2 years and all this kind of stuff.
Was she a
But they
bodybuilder?
had a huge following over that time. And
Yeah,
now
it's true.
they still have a huge following because everyone's like, oh my God, look, they had these issues or whatever, and let's support them or whatever. But what damage have they done? You know what I mean? That's just not accounted for them.
Yeah.
So just be very, very careful who you follow, and just look at the behaviors of people and see if you're finding like a trend of massive, like, you know, obsessive about some whether it's food, whether it's training, whether it's whatever, and just unfollow them, like you say. That's what I do, yeah.
Yeah. Like even yesterday, there was people posting like who, like, clients sent me these stories that people posted, not people who I follow, but they were like, oh, I'm going to row a marathon so I can really enjoy my Easter egg then. And I'm like, I'm halfway through Mighty Ducks 2 and I'm already an Easter egg in. I'm like, what the fuck are these people doing? Rowing a marathon so that you can earn an Easter egg? Like, what? Like, if that's what you're doing, you know your shit is fucked up.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, Matty, that like I can understand that if they're training to be in the Olympics or they're on the borderline of some kind of massive sporting achievement, then I'm like, look, you have to be obsessive. There's no other way around it. You know, the elite of the elite. But let's face it, no one looking at this, no one on our Instagrams, no one on whatever is going to be at that level. And if they are, they're probably not going to be, you know, following all these people anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the only stage you should be worried to that extent. You know what I mean? Of what you eat and how your training is going and everything. So I definitely will be kicking them all out, kicking them to the curb.
Colin, I think it's a really good point what you said about like social media. It's not real life, you know, that way. It kind of reminds me of like a fashion show, and you see all the models walking down the runway and they're wearing all these mad hats and these mad get-ups, and you're just like, this shit doesn't happen in real life. Like, you don't see them walking down Tesco doing their shopping, you know, on a Tuesday morning. It's like, it's just for show. So to differentiate between the two is really important. Like.
Yeah.
Feels a bit of a fashionista now. I didn't know.
No.
I know, right?
The spider monkey, the hidden talent. So who, along a similar line, someone asked a question, Paul asked a question, who do you follow on social media, apart from the people in this group? Like maybe one person that you like to follow. Anyone want to go first? Maybe another coach, or maybe just someone you find motivational, or whatever.
Like, who do I follow?
I'm looking through now to try and find something.
Yeah, the only people I follow on Instagram are people, obviously, like friends and stuff like that, maybe, or else people that I find I'm going to learn something off or take some kind of value out of their work. I suppose like an Irish element, the guy I work with, actually, the guy that coaches me, Graham Norton, he puts up some really good content, really practical content. And then probably John Rushin, Phil, I know you'd follow him a good bit, and Tony Glentory, you know, these people.
Yeah.
That's kind of a list of people I think off the top of my head that I follow, that I kind of get content off, or, you know, would influence me a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here really as well. Smaller numbers. I've cleared out my Instagram over the time. Like that, just end up scrolling through stories. So really, apart from family and friends, then a few people, I suppose, locally. Then apart from yourselves, and that would be somebody like Rob McCabe, the physio. Again, he puts out some great content as well.
Rob's got some crazy workouts at home now, doesn't he? I think he did like a swing workout and stuff like that as well. Yeah.
But it's really good because it just shows you as well that you don't need, you know, stuff like you don't need the real expensive, crazy stuff for, you know, a gym membership, that whatever. But anywho, and then there's another guy, Dr. Aaron Horschig. He's American or Canadian. He's got the Squat University.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Squat Bible book he wrote. I followed him from the start there as well. So I like his stuff as well. He goes through different kind of fixes and stuff. He's a physiotherapist as well. So they would be two.
It's funny when you said his name, I had no idea who that was.
Yeah.
But the second you said Squat University, I was like, oh
yeah.
What was that, Matty?
Yes, I guess same. Like the only probably big name I follow is Lewis Howes. I'd say he's got like my favorite podcast, The School of Greatness, where he interviews like loads of business people. Probably closer-ish to home, Richie Kerwin. I know Philly is good buddies with him. Like he's always putting out good information and entertaining. He's funny as well, so that'd be a good one to follow.
Yeah.
Philip, we've given you enough time to stall.
Oh God, yeah. I don't even follow that many people. But I suppose just to explain the reason behind that as well was I did find myself getting distracted on social media a lot, and then obviously like with a master's and just trying to be efficient, I just cut my the people I follow down to like I think it's 30 or 40. And the great thing about it is when I go onto Instagram, generally if I sign on at a certain point in the day and then later on in the day, there's no updates, there's nothing really to look at, you know, that way, so you don't find yourself falling down a rabbit hole as much. So don't be offended if I don't follow you. It's just so I don't fail college. I follow Richie. I think like you'll find people that you align with, obviously like your thoughts on training and nutrition, but as a person as well, so someone that you'll just think, right, that person's pretty sound. So the likes of Richie is there. My old coach, Alex Ritson, is there. All the crew from CSP and Bray. So I follow the gym. I follow Alan Sherry. I follow the coaches. I just think it's a really good gym. I think they're all really, really sound. Anytime I've ever met any of them or asked Alan, could I go up and train there? He's always been really, really welcoming to me. They're just a sound bunch of people. I really like all of them. It's just, that's kind of, I have a small list basically, but just people that I look up to and I think are smart.
Cool. Quick change of gears. A question we got in is, this will be interesting for Phil actually.
Oh no.
For everyone, sorry, what are your hobbies outside of fitness? So Phil, go ahead. What do we got?
Sorry, I'm back. Sorry.
Phil's true calling.
Someone else start. Someone else start.
I'll start. What are my music. Music is my hobby. It kind of helps me relax and like disconnect from the world. Guitar is over there somewhere. That's my hobby. I used to play piano or keyboard as well, so I want to get back into that. But music for sure. Who's next?
I'll go, I suppose cars will be my thing. Cars and whiskey. Two good hobbies. Not together.
Together.
Not together. And not
yeah.
in that order either.
Yeah, I suppose always in the cars, you know that. If I'm not kind of looking up training stuff, my relaxation is like YouTube watching car stuff. And then obviously going to Manello, doing a bit myself, and trying to keep my car in one piece while I do it, which isn't easy. But yeah, that'd be my big thing, and that would probably be my first love over fitness. That if I won the lotto in the morning and go on doing the car stuff all day long, that's number one. But this is a close second.
Cool. Nukes.
Um,
Spin around there
Like-
and play us a song on that piano.
that's Sophie's baby. For me, like whiskey. I don't know. I don't think it's all PG. No, that's not true. I suppose I like to. What do I like to do? I like to spend time with people, socializing, not necessarily drinking or stuff like that, but just I'd be like social. I do like being physically active, so like it could even just be going out for a hike or out for a paddle, on the river or something like that. Things like that.
You're definitely
Movies.
like a people person for sure.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to you, you're
Yeah.
meeting someone for coffee, or I'm going out with the girls for dinner, or like I'm doing this, or but you and
Yeah.
Phil are opposites completely.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Movies though as well. I love watching movies and things like that. I do like to read a book, but I find it really hard sometimes to get the time to do it. To get the peace. Quiet place.
Phil, when you're answering this question, answer this one as well. I got this in as well on Instagram. Has Philly noticed any difference in his day-to-day life since all this started?
I'll answer that one first. It's very, very similar to what it was like already, honestly. Yeah, like it really, really was. Because college is online, work is online, I trained at home. I generally, I just don't get to meet people for coffee or go for lunch with you or whatever. The weekends are a little bit different, don't really get to do everything. But honestly, Monday to Friday is very, very similar, like very, very similar. Just long hours, just working at home. Yeah. So it's pretty much the same. It's not far off. And it, honestly, everything sucks, but it's kind of, it would have been the same nearly for me anyway for the next few weeks, just because I'm down to my last few weeks in college. I just would have been on lockdown, so to speak. So yeah, not a whole lot has changed. So
Right, next on hobbies.
video games. Oh yes.
Oh, yeah,
I'm a big gamer. Video games, and I like golf and pitch and putt, but I wouldn't really get much time to play at all. But like you, it's funny. Like
Just
video
sounds like
games would be
Sarah.
up there nearly. Would it be above fitness? Nearly. Yeah, I've been a gamer since I was probably 11 or 12. And I don't know how to
How
explain
many years
it.
ago was that?
Yeah, about 100. Unless you're a gamer, I don't think you really get it.
I was actually into games when I was younger, really, really into them, and I really get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I actually really get it. It's brilliant.
I think I always will. I'll always game, no matter what age I am. And there is actually a really good social aspect to it as well. There's a group of us. There's a few lads from Ireland. There's a lad from Sweden. There's a lad from Germany. There's about 8 or 10 of us that just game together. And we're obviously getting loads of time to game lately because of the way things are going. But one of them is a doctor in Beaumont. There's most of them are coders, IT guys. A couple of them, one of them works from Microsoft. There's a decent mix of people there as well, but we're all kind of mid to late 30s. And we all just have a laugh. Kind of most evenings now we jump on for 2 or 3 hours just playing a specific game and just have a bit of a laugh. All the lads will be drinking cans, just chilling out, and we'll just have fun. So it's I really enjoy it anyway.
Are these people you knew beforehand or no? That
No.
you met?
No,
That's
no.
cool,
we just
isn't it?
we just
That's one
we
of the
just know each
pluses
other
of the
from
internet.
online. Yeah, and they're all just kind of chilled out guys as well, all the same kind of age. We all have adult responsibilities, and it is you just get to switch off and just have fun and just try and shoot some people.
It is that though. It's just like a complete switch off. You know what I mean? And it's although you're concentrating on something, it's actually really relaxing because you're not thinking about everything else. You know what I
You
mean? That's what I
completely
find.
switch off,
Yeah,
from everything else, and it's just another form of entertainment. Like some people like going to movies, some people like doing whatever. I've just always been a gamer, always. Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Okay. Last question, and we might wrap it up. We're a bit tight for time because Cal was 14 minutes late.
Hey,
So the last question, where is it? So I think people have like this idea that we are like positive 24/7 and like we're always motivated and all this sort of stuff. And one of the questions is, how are you staying positive and motivated during the lockdown? And we like, for me, like I know I've personally, like, we have a WhatsApp group obviously, and I've probably ranted into that like a handful of times. We all probably have, but like we're not positive 24/7. We're not motivated 24/7. We're no different than other people. And we might just have a better handle on it than some people do, or have better structure in our day or whatever. So what do you guys think? How are you staying positive and motivated?
yeah, but I suppose routine is just something like, if you're working off motivation all the time, I'm not waking up listening to David Goggins, although he's cool, whatever, like, there's no problem, but like I'm not waking up listening to him every day and then going to my workout or whatever. It's just something I built into my day over years. And that would just be through consistency, that kind of way. I'm probably not killing myself when I train all the time. So it's not like every day is this big like battle and I'm going to go in and kill myself and it's going to be really hard. I just do what I can do, without kind of going too mad, and it's not a big deal then, it's just a kind of like whatever, doing your normal stuff, cooking your dinner, taking a shower, go do a workout, like it's not actually that bad. And then like that, some days you're just not like, you're just not motivated, and especially throughout this. I know there was one day, what day we know, it was like Thursday or something, and I don't think I got anything done for the day. You know what I mean? Like a couple of workouts sent or whatever, and then the rest of the day I was just like, oh, I just can't be bothered. So you're going to have days like that, but just that they're abnormal. And then your normal days, you're just in your normal routine. Wake up same time. I think that's a kind of big one for me. If I don't, like, me, I'm always going to bed early. But if I don't go to bed early and I don't wake up at the same time, I'm all over the place. My day is just not going to be good. So that's a big one with me. If I keep that same routine, everything else just kind of falls into place, and I'm not thinking like dreading a workout all day or anything. It just go on with normal stuff, and then it's time to work out, go do that, and then get back to my normal stuff or whatever.
Yeah. I've been there. I think as well, like we're all adults, we're all grown-ups, we all have responsibilities, so it's priorities really. At the end of the day, some days you just don't want to work out, but I know for my health and my fitness that it's a good idea to do it. So it's like sometimes it's a bit of a drag doing it, but I'll do it. Some days I just don't train, and that's okay too, because I know I'm going to train the next day or whatever. Like I think I said it one day to you, and I was just thinking about it the other day, yesterday when I done my cat run. I felt really positive and really good going around on the run, and I just thought, this is deadly. I'm really enjoying the run, and there was no kind of pressure or something. Whereas, a lot of the times I hate the thoughts of going out for a run, but actually when I'm doing it and I'm in it's positive kind of thought, it's like, oh, this is actually really nice. But I know when things are looking shitty and that, if you just kind of try and switch something about it to trying to put a positive spin on it, it definitely makes everything much easier doing it, But like I said, we all have priorities and have to do shit, so it's for the greater good, and it's kind of just has to be done, Yeah,
and Lou, I would say on yourself as well, like you do what you can do, that
Yeah.
kind of way. I think people that maybe go to like classes and stuff like that, they nearly feel a pressure to, oh, I have to be like keeping up with some person or lying on the ground afterwards or whatever it might be. And then, like that, we obviously know that's not important at all. It's probably really detrimental to your
Yeah.
fitness. So I suppose it's people realizing that training shouldn't be this like horrible thing that you have to go through. Like it is mental battle
Yeah,
every
it's a
day. It's
like you have to pay for your
yeah,
food,
for your
calorie
food
expenditure. You have to exercise. It's crazy.
and then when you slow
Um,
down people down, well, it's very hard to slow them down, obviously.
Mm.
And you kind of show them that, oh, well, training can be done in a much smarter way. They kind of feel like they're not getting the most out of it then because they're not dead on the ground afterwards. So that'd be something like obviously me and Lou, when this isn't on, we train together most days, and like we're never really going out there like like when you know what I mean, like
to any conditioning.
but like
We're
even
getting
with
back to
strength
that.
work or even a
Yeah,
condition
no,
or
for
whatever like that,
sure.
it's like 90% of the time whenever we're just like finish your session, all right, cool, whatever, see you later, see you tomorrow, boom,
Yeah.
and that's it. We're not like lying on the ground and like suffering and can't sleep afterwards and all that kind of stupid stuff. So that'd probably be a big thing that would help keep your motivation. Maddie?
Oh. I'll go. Yeah, I think you're right. Like people beating themselves into the ground and understanding that. Again, Phil like says this quite a bit, that like you don't have to train, you get to train. Like we are, I think, blessed and lucky to get to train as often as we do, or like, and it should absolutely make you feel better. Like you're training to improve the rest of your life. Like you're not, like you said, Carl, like nobody watching this is going to be a professional athlete. We're not professional athletes. We're just general population people who want to improve our health and fitness. And remember that when you're training, that like we're training to just be healthier and fitter and to make the rest of your life better. And if you get better at training or if you get stronger, amazing. But like the priority, in my opinion, should be to improve your life and improve your health and fitness. And then once you realize that and you're not beating yourself into the ground in training all the time, it's easier to stay motivated and stay positive. But I think this question actually ties into what we talked about in social media, well, where like how we stay positive is we're surrounding ourselves with good people, and that like we obviously, the four of us, have a good circle here, and we always bounce ideas and like talk to each other. So find yourself like a circle or a group of people who are positive, that you can kind of have the same as we do, you know.
Yeah, it's a really good point. That's one of the main points for me, Matt. I think there's obviously, because of our careers, there's a certain amount of it where we're accountable, where you can't just sit on your arse like all the time and not train. So like we're probably a little bit more motivated, if you want to call it that, than just someone who doesn't work in the fitness industry. Like we have to train. For me, the group as well, like the four of us as well, I think it would be a lot harder if I was just like going solo and didn't have the three of ye as friends. So there's that part of it as well. For me, there's obviously like a little bit of vanity to it, that like I want to be in shape, I want to look a certain way, I want to be fit, I want to be strong, I want to be able to use my body. But what you said there, Matt, I think the more I look into it, and obviously my degree, my master's is in nutrition and health, and the more you look into it and the benefits of eating well, the benefits of regular exercise, it nearly becomes, it's counterintuitive for me to not train. Like to not train like at least 4 times a week. So it would be like 4 to 5 times a week I would do some kind of training. So motivation nearly doesn't come into it for me. It would be very, very rare that I wouldn't kind of train. The only way it would be is because it was either a designated rest day or I was just so busy that I couldn't train. Like literally I had too much other stuff to do in a day. And even at that, I feel like I can always make time. But it's just like you said, something I tried to talk to my clients today about, and just said they're all doing so much good work in really, really challenging circumstances. I was like, just being accountable to your future self. So it's easy to think about yourself when you were 18 or when you were 20 or whatever it was. You can think back and go, that's the person I was. And you can like physically, you can visualize yourself and see yourself and remember what you were doing. But like to picture yourself 20, 30, 40 years down the line, like in decline from where you are now, is in we all age, it can be really, really hard to picture yourself for your circumstance or what you'll physically look like. So it can be hard to be accountable to that person, because nothing bad is happening because of what you're doing right now, decisions day to day. So I always think of that. I always think I want to train and be physically active and capable for as long as I can, literally for my whole life until the very end. I want to be able to be physically active. So I'm just, every day I train, I just get up and do it. And I'm like, I enjoy the active training, and I'm doing it for my future self, like down the line, X years down the line.
Sweet. I don't think we're going to top that. Let's wrap it up there. Thanks very much for watching and for taking part, you guys. Let's get a quick photo. Everybody smile. Awesome.
Thanks, Maddie.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. This will be on YouTube for anyone who missed it. So hopefully the recording will look different, but we might let people back in. Again, Kyle, you got something to pop up?
No, I'll leave it up on my Insta.
Cool. For next 24 hours. I won't post it before then, so if you want to watch it, go watch it on Kyle's name.
Cool.
Nice
See you
one.
later, guys.
Cheers,
See you
amigos.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye.